Let's finish section 4.3 on equations and formulas. Question 3 says an appliance store bought 8 large refrigerators and 10 washer-dryer combination sets. The store's cost for a washer-dryer set was $462, and the total paid for all appliances was $10,860. Find the cost of a refrigerator. So I'm going to start here where it says find the cost of a refrigerator, and I'm going to let my variable R be the cost of a refrigerator. And the other thing I'm going to do is use the W for a variable for the cost of a washer-dryer combo. Okay. Let's set up an equation. So the first part they said is we have an appliance store. They bought 8 refrigerators and 10 washer dryers. So I'm going to start out with 8 times the cost of the refrigerator to get me my total price paid for all refrigerators. And I'm going to add to that 10 washer dryer combos, so 10 times the cost of the washer dryers. And when we put all the refrigerator costs together plus all the washer dryer costs together, we get a total of $10,860. That was right there. Okay. Now there is one other piece of information that we haven't used yet, and that's the second sentence where it says the washer dryer is $462. So let's put that right here for the cost of the washer dryer. So I'm going to keep the 8R plus keep the 10, and instead of W, I'm going to use 462 equals 10,860. Now let's start to simplify. Keep the 8R plus multiplying 10 times 462, we get 4,620 equals 10,860. Starting to solve, we're going to keep the R variable to last. So we're going to move this minus 4,620 and subtract it once on each side of the equation to keep it balanced. On the left-hand side, that leaves us with 8R. And remember that the 4,620 minus 4,620 becomes 0. On the right-hand side, we get 6,240. To end, we're going to divide by 8 to break the bond between the 8 times R. Divide by 8 on the right-hand side also. And we end up with an R of 780, which means the refrigerator cost is $780. That ends question 3 because we found the cost of the refrigerator. I always like to go back and just make sure that we answered what the question was asking. Let's move on to question 4. Ben Cross loaned $8,000 to his uncle for 4 years and received $1,920 in interest. Find the interest rate. So we're going to go back and use one of those formulas that was given to you. I equals PRT. P was principal, R was rate, T was time. And we're going to fill in what we know. So the amount that was loaned or borrowed was $8,000. That's the P value. We know that time is 4 years. So I don't know the R yet. And time is 4 years. Time should always be considered in years, so time is just 4. And then the interest received is $1,920, so that goes over here on the left for the I. Now I'm going to simplify the right-hand side. We don't typically see 8,000 times R times 4. We would typically see the variable at the end, and because this is multiplication, we can rearrange them and multiply in any order and still get the same value. 8,000 times 4 times R on the right-hand side. And now simplifying 8,000 times 4 would be 32,000. And we still have times the variable R. On the left, we still have 1,920. In order to get the R by itself, we're going to divide both the left and the right by 32,000. On the right-hand side, that leaves us with one R, and whether you write the 1 or just an R, okay, they are the same. So 1 R equals 0.06. Okay. And now we're going to change that to a percent. So change 0.06 to a percent. So 0.06, thinking back to chapter 3, we multiplied by 100% because 100% is the same value as 1, and that ends up giving us 6% with the percent label. Our interest rate is 6%. Last example for section 4.3. Jan borrowed $12,500 from her uncle to help start an antique shop. She repaid $14,750 exactly 2 years later. Find the interest rate. So again, we're still finding R, okay, and use the formula M equals P plus 1, M equals P times 1 plus RT. If you're repaying $14,750, that's actually the principal plus the interest combined, which is called the maturity value. So that's the total repaid. So that's going to go here for the M variable. So starting to fill in what we know, M equals P parenthesis 1 plus RT, and whether you use capital R or lowercase r, they're both meaning the rate. So M is our $14,750. P was the amount borrowed, $12,500. Keep your parenthesis, 1 plus. R is what we're trying to calculate and find. And they did give us T. T stands for time. So if we look back in the problem, our time was 2 years. So T is a 2. Now again, I'm going to start to make this look a little bit more like we're used to. We don't usually see R2, so I'm going to rewrite that as 2R. So 1 plus 2R. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use distribution on the right-hand side. 12,500 times 1 and 12,500 times 2R. So my left is going to stay the same. 14,750 equals 12,500 times 1 is 12,500 plus 12,500 times 2R would be 25,000R. Now we're going to start to solve. Again, anything attached to the R we're going to save to the end. So we're going to move this 12,500. So the opposite of a positive would be a negative 12,500. Or you could say subtract. On the left-hand side, we get 2,250. On the right-hand side, the 12,500 and minus 12,500 becomes 0, so we don't write that down. And we still have the 25,000R. To finish, let's divide both sides by 25,000 to get that R variable alone. On the right-hand side, we have just the R. On the left-hand side, we get 0.09. And then we're going to work the same thing. We're going to change 0.09 into a percent. So 0.09 times 100%. So remember, 100% is just a fancy way to write 1. So you're really multiplying by 1, but using the percent label. And you should get 9% as our rate. And that is the end of section 4.3.